Hello, everyone. It's me, Erick Coughlin. Welcome you guys back to Just My Thoughts. How's everyone doing? I hope they're doing good. You want to know what's on the thought tracker today? It's breaking down the future of the Bulls within this season's off season. How you doing? So, now that the playoffs are still going on, we haven't crowned a champion yet. I've already had expressed my feelings on picking champions, so we're not going down that road. Um, we're sticking to the Bulls today. So we're looking at this offseason. We've got roughly six guys that are going to be free agents. Roughly, probably even seven. There might be. There was eight, but two of them picked up player options, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So now we're looking at six premier free agents, and three of which are super important to the team. So we're going to list the names of all those free agents that I'm talking about. The most important free agent and the absolute have to re-sign agent is Nikola Vucevic. The second guy is Kobe White. Third guy, Ayo Dosunmu. Fourth guy, Javonte Green. Fifth guy, Patrick Beverly. And then the sixth guy is a guy you guys probably didn't even know we had. His name is Terry Taylor. We picked him up toward the end of the year from Indiana. So he is the sixth guy on the list. Like I said, there were eight. I'm going to drop the little hints to you. I said we'll get into that later. We'll get into it right now. Derrick Jones Jr. picked up his player option. He'll be on the team next year. And Andre Drummond picked up the player option. He will be on the team next year. Thank God for that. For both of them, here's the reason why. First of all, I felt like Andre Drummond didn't play enough last year. I do feel like he's a superstar in this league that's kind of been slept on and forgotten. And he's kind of woken up himself, too. Last year, he had a very good season, only played 58 games for us. Was healthy majority of the year. He's got stress issues and he's got mental issues. The players have been going through that on the court. It's all over the league. People just need to sit out and get away from being a superstar and being a human being. They just can't handle it. And I think his problem is he went from being famous to being a bench player, and I think that's what's going on with him, working on depression problems. But needless to say, he decided to stick around a little bit, and I hope he plays a hell of a lot more than 56 games next year. I hope he stays the premier bench center next year. I hope he gets more minutes, helps out Vooch. I hope that all that happens. So let's get into that. So Nikola Vucevic, he's probably, look, he's so good, it's unreal. He's probably expecting anywhere between 12 to 15 million a year, and it's well deserved. Probably could be argued that he deserves 20 million a year, and you probably couldn't even argue that he doesn't. He was third last year in rebound. I mean, not rebounds. In rebounds, but in double doubles, which is getting double digit points, getting double digit rebounds. He was third in the league doing that, and literally for about, I don't know, I would say for 2/3 of the season, he was actually number one. But then, the guy from actually Sabonis, Domantas Sabonis, I think is how you say his name, led the league in double doubles. But he only beat him. It was like 15. He had 15 more than Nikola Vucevic, and then second place double doubles. I don't really remember who second place double doubles was. But I know that Nick was third in the league. So most definitely, you have to look at this. You have to look at how much money do we have willing to spend or are allowed to spend this offseason. We're floating at the 140 mark. It's been said that if we can build a championship contender, that the team or the city would be willing to sign, penalty rights. So we could have roughly up to 160 million roughly to play with. So this is how I see that. Vooch is going to be 32, or he just turned 32. He had a birthday this last season. So you wonder if he played 5 years, that means that he's going to want $100,000, and then it pretty much chews up the rest. That's all your salary cap. So you have to approach him with the idea of sticking around a little bit longer, but buying into the team, right? We have to win a title before we can give anybody that kind of money, because we just paid Zach LaVine that kind of money. So then you offer him a sweet little deal. You offer him somewhere around, 3 years, 62 million, just something that keeps him happy and keeps him at bay. So, hopefully he says yes. So then you take 62 off of that 130 mark. And then you look at Kobe White. He's another guy you absolutely have to save. You have to save Kobe White. Why? Because we drafted him 3 years ago. He was a starter for 2 seasons. Then we took his job and give it to Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball got hurt. Then we gave his job to a rookie, Ayo Dosunmu, who actually Ayo Dosunmu started about a third of the season this year, almost 2/3 of the season, before finally losing that position to Patrick Beverley, which was absolutely crazy. Patrick Beverley is also on that free agent list, and I hope he doesn't come back. You heard that from me. Sorry about that. Back to the discussions of Kobe White. Like I said, this will be last season was his third, fourth season with the Bulls. His rookie contract is up. He's up for extension, and he's probably up worth $9 million, $10 million. So this is what you got to do to make him happy. You offer him just the 10, even if he's worth 9. You offer him $1 million more. So 4 years, $40 million. Kobe White, please stick around, and help us out. How you doing? So then you wrap up the 62 you offered Vooch and the 40 that you're now offering to Kobe White. So that puts us already at the 100,000 mark. So we got about 35 million to play with, right? And then you ask yourselves, well, who else in the list do we have to save? Well, we don't have to save him, but I think it'd be a great idea to save him because it's like Kobe White Jr. And I'm talking about Ayo Dosunmu, who's also coming off his rookie contract, which means he's worth about 5 to 6 million, very dog cheap, right? So then you just go with that. You go 6 times 3 is 18. So then you offer him 3 years, 18 million with a player option. If he wants to stick around for a 4th year, we'll give him the league minimum, which is usually like 3 million, but we'll get him for the 4th year for 3 mil. And you just hope like hell that everyone enjoyed what we did last year. Even though we didn't make the playoffs, we had to play all year without Lonzo Ball. So a lot of different developments had to go on. A lot of relationships had to get built. Ayo Dosunmu being his 2nd year, coming off his rookie year, his sophomore year, having to build trust with Patrick Williams, who started half the season, and then he got bench time for, believe it or not, Alex Caruso played power forward, which is ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous because Alex Caruso is one of the most important Bulls on the team. I said that right. You heard it right. Captain Caruso is probably my 4th favorite Bull on this team, and I mean that with all my heart. I like him more than I like Kobe White. I like him more than I like Ayo Dosunmu. I really like Alex Caruso. So anyway, back to what I'm saying. So you put that 18 million with the 100 million we just crewed up to keep the team that we had last year. All right, I just told you Derrick Jones Jr. kept his player option. I just told you Andre Drummond just kept his player option. All right, so then you keep Nikola Vucevic, you keep Kobe White, you keep Ayo Dosunmu, right? Right, so then that's 5 guys. We locked up Zach. Zach's not going nowhere. DeMar DeRozan's still on contract up to next year. Next year he'll be a free agent. So then you still have the rest of the team would be, I said Kobe White. Or we just cleaned up Kobe White. We just cleaned up Nikola Vucevic. Just cleaned up Ayo Dosunmu, Derrick Jones Jr., Andre Drummond. Zach's on contract. DeMar DeRozan's on contract. Patrick Williams is on contract, but Patrick is also coming up to a free agent. He's coming out of his rookie deal next year, so that's 2 big names that we got to worry about. We have to worry about DeMar DeRozan. We have to worry about Patrick Williams, but that's next year that we have to do that. You heard it from me first. How you doing? Patrick Williams. And then, Alex Caruso, again, so Alex Caruso as year after next. We had him on a 3-year deal last year, so he'll still be good. He'll still be good after next year, Alex Caruso. And then Zach, Alex, Patrick, DeMar. Who am I leaving out? Who am I leaving out? Well, I guess you could consider me leaving out Patrick Beverley as a free agent, getting out of here. So then that's 9 guys coming back on the same team. And of those 9 guys, I guess I was talking about Patrick Beverley, but I don't want him back. So instead of bringing back 10, you're bringing back 9. That's 9 guys you're locking in a contract saying, hey, I love what we did last year, even though we missed playoffs. Let's do this again with a couple of new hands, right? So then of the 18, we're at 118 of the 135. So let's just round up. We're at 120 of the 140. We got 20 million to play with. But like I said, it's been stated that we might be eligible to go over tax, right? So then let's just shoot that 160. We're at 120. That gives us 40 million. So then you ask yourself, is there a free agent that would turn us around and make us a title contending team? Just one guy. And then you look at that. You look at what do we need more than anything? Well, in my opinion, as a Chicago Bulls fan, listen, I watched 76 of the 82 games last year, but I've been watching the Bulls all my life. I live in Mississippi, so a lot of my life I would catch like the highlight games and stuff like that. I might only watch about 22 games a year living down here in Mississippi, but thank God to evolution of life, now I have the options to watch all 82 games, and I almost did that. I succeeded 76 of the 82. This year, I challenged myself to watch all 82 and to be a little bit better about, quoting stats and knowing, I know I'm really good about knowing the players, knowing the positions, knowing how they play, where they play, but I want to be like stat on stat every time they do something. I want to be able to drop it, you know what I mean? So I'm going to challenge myself to make all 82 games next year. So 9 guys we're coming back with that I think we can actually win a title. Here's the thing that you have to understand. There's a couple of guys that's not going on there. So actually, I'm saying 9, but I'm saying 9 players that are going to play. There's actually going to be 11 guys, because then you got Dallin Terry, who was a rookie last year, so he'll be underneath rookie contract. He's not going nowhere. Then you also have to worry about Lonzo Ball, who's injured reserve. He's not going nowhere. He'll be on the team. He won't play, but you still have to count him because we're paying him. He's the 11th guy. So just keep that in mind. And back to what we're saying, $40 million. So you look at power forwards. We absolutely have to have a power forward. That's what I was saying. And here's the reason why. DeMar DeRozan kind of plays power forward for us, but he's really a small forward. Same thing. Derrick Jones Jr. kind of plays power forward, kind of plays center, but he's really a small forward. Alex Caruso is really a point guard. Small forward at best, but guess what? A lot of times, Alex Caruso plays power forward. So if there's a huge hole that we're filling it with, undersized players, it's power forward. So then you look at the names of the free agents of the power forwards. You got guys like Thomas Bryant, who's young, 25 years old. He's been shipped around. He's in Washington, and he's been in LA. I like him. I think he definitely score inside. He's got a big body. I think he can definitely rebound. Do I want him? Absolutely not. But I like him. I like what he brings to the table. He's an option at power forward. There's a huge name out there that I don't think is realistic, because he's going to want 60, 70, 80 million, and he's probably worth it. So I don't think it's an option for us. But Dario Saric, I think that dude is incredible. He can play stretch 5. He can play center. He can play power forward. He's quick enough, believe it or not, even though he's a bigger body guy. You could probably line him up as a small forward in playoff ball situations. If you wanted to beef it up and you wanted, to catch somebody undersized off guard, Saric could probably go out there and play the wing. So he's another big name out there. The name I like the most out there that I really would like the Bulls to do, if the Bulls could pull it off, 4 years, $44 million. If you can get him to commit to $11 million a year, the name I want is Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell's played for the Dallas Mavericks, and I think he ended up a Trailblazer. Maybe it was before, maybe he was a Trailblazer and then became a Maverick. But either which way, Dwight Powell has been in the league maybe 6 years. He's been trying to find a home, played for 2 different teams. Dude can do it all. He could probably be average a double-double almost every night. So you just think about that. I asked the question, is there a guy out there that could make us a championship? I told you that when one of our guys was 3rd in the league at double-doubles, and now I'm telling you there's another guy that's a free agent, only looking for $11 million a year, and is a walk-in double-double, and that's Dwight Powell. If the Bulls do anything, I would love to see the Bulls pull that off. But just in case they couldn't, and you wanted to know just one more guy out there that's a free agent, it doesn't really make sense to me, so I don't really think that it could happen. I think he's going to sign a huge deal anyway. He's been in the league a long time. If you wonder who I'm talking about Kristaps Porzingis. I think he's been in the league 8, 9, 10 years. He's looking for a brand new contract. He's 31 years old. He's essentially pretty much everything that Nikola Vucevic is, Porzingis is. I mean, they're the same as that guy. That's why if I'm not spending the money on Kristaps Porzingis if I can spend the money on Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic is bigger, he's smarter, he's well more documented, he's healthier. Let me tell you something. You want to know how many guys played all games last year? 2 of them. Nikola Vucevic and Patrick Williams were the only Bulls that played 82 games last year. That's why you pay that man whatever he's asking for. If the man's asking for $20 million a year, you lock him up. You give him, 62 for 3. And you just pay him what he fucking wants because he's worth the damn money. That's just what I'm saying. And then you have to think about it like this. So that brings in, bringing in just Dwight Powell, saving Nikola Vucevic, right? Saving Kobe White, right? Saving Ayo Dosunmu, right? guys that have to be on this team that are already part of our rebuilding program. This is going to be year 3, final year. You get 3 years to rebuild the team. The team's rebuilt. Now it's time to shine. So you have to have those guys. And then you bring in an automatic double-double Dwight Powell. And then you know that you're going to have your draft picks for next year's draft. You're looking at a rebuilt team with just one additional player. That's incredible. And this is what it brings up. It brings up the ideas. Then you start Powell, right? So then you build a starting 5. And in my mind, as a Chicago Bulls fan, if the Bulls pulled this off and they signed Dwight Powell, 44 mil, 4-year deal, if that happens, and then they signed Kobe White, 4 years, 40 million, if that happens, and they sign Ayo Dosunmu, 3 years, 21 mil, 18 mil, if that happens, and you get Nikola Vucevic, 3 years, 62 mil, and then this is what we're bringing to the table. I absolutely think that we can win the East, boom, hands down, right? So then you got Alex Caruso, starting point guard, Zach LaVine, starting shooting guard. You've got DeMar DeRozan, starting small forward. You got Dwight Powell, starting power forward. You got Nikola Vucevic, starting center. And then the 6th man, and probably will win 6th man of the year. You're looking at Kobe White, right? And then you got the bench reserves, the other 4 guys that are going to come in. I know you like the NBA likes to play 9. I don't like that. Now, here's the thing. You're paying your whole entire team, so why play 9 players? I'm playing a 10-player rotation, and if anybody gets hurt, I want 4 guys on the sideline that's gonna be able to step in wherever I need them to, and I'm getting to that. So then Patrick Williams plays power forward, Andre Drummond be the center, then Derrick Jones Jr. be the small forward, and then Ayo Dosunmu would be the point guard. So the 6th man would actually be playing the shooting guard position. Kobe White would be the 6th man, but he would be essentially Zach LaVine's backup. And that's exactly what I would bring to the table every night, all night long. And then your injured reserves, you're going to have Dallin Terry from the rookie contract. He'll be on contract. You're going to have a couple of draft picks, so there'll be a couple of rookies there. And then luckily, if we're lucky enough and if he's willing to just stick around, if we could find about $4 or $5 million to just keep him happy, if Marko Simovic sticks around, let me tell you something. If Marko Simovic thinks, hey, I want to be part of this team. I don't care how long I have to sit on this bench. I want to be part of this team. And then Andre Drummond gets hurt and Marko Simovic steps up and plays the bench center. We would be glorified. Not good. We will be glorified. That kid can play. He would be a reason why we don't need to really worry about signing a lot of people. We need to worry about keeping the people that we got, add one badass, and then and holding true to being the Chicago Bulls. And this is why I'm saying this. You have to understand. I've been a Bulls fan my entire life. You know how many times I've seen us draft guys and then they turn into superstars right before our eyes? Guys like Bobby Portis. Ask Milwaukee how they feel about Bobby Portis. I'm telling you, he's getting extended. He's probably going to make about $88 million, probably a $92 million contract, probably over the course of 5 years. They're going to make Bobby Portis their franchise guy next to Giannis. Obviously, they're going to throw their hats to never lose him. But to never lose Giannis, they're also going to never lose Bobby Portis. You heard that from me first. How you doing? Bobby Portis was a great guy. You know who else we lost that we drafted? Jimmy Butler. But here's the thing. He kind of did it to himself, right? He walked out. He told us, it's me or Fred. I guess he found out it was him and not Fred. But, I mean, look at what he's done since he's left us. He's done nothing but compete. Is arguably the best shooting guard in the league. He's been my favorite player for 8 years. Jimmy Butler rips the heads off of all the kings in the NBA. And I said this, it was funny. I was talking to my brother on the phone months ago. He lives down there in the Florida Keys, but I told him, I said, he needs to be getting to Miami and watch Jimmy Butler play. He's like, I'm not even a basketball fan. I said, that's crazy because I think that they're primed to win a title. Now, I said this was months ago. We were talking way before the playoffs. And I'm telling you again, I think Miami Heat's primed to win a title. So, it is what it is. Jimmy Butler is awesome. And then Bam Adebayo again, he's awesome. Tyler Hero gets healthy. He's going to be awesome. In case you ain't been watching the playoffs and you ain't been paying attention, Kyle Lowry doesn't like to lose. So that Miami Heat, they've got it figured out. But this ain't about them. But this is about the players that the Chicago Bulls have drafted and let walked away. Bobby Portis, Jimmy Butler. How about Max Strus? What? I said, how about Max Strauss? How many Bulls fans out there even know that Max Strauss was even part of the Chicago Bulls organization? I knew that. What? I said, I knew that. He played for us for the Windy City Bulls. That's our understudy league, our G League, if you will, our developmental team. That's where Carlik Jones plays, Simonovic plays. Max Strauss played there 2 years ago. Dallin Terry played last year for us. Pretty much all your rookies will be within the Windy City Bulls, the G League development team. It just happens all the time. But Max Strauss was on that. And you're like, what's so cool about him? Let me tell you what's not so fucking cool about him. You know, if you've been watching the playoffs, you know the Bulls are not in it, right? Right. Why? Why? Because fucking Max Strauss. What? Because of Max Strauss. It ain't because of what Jimmy Butler could do. It ain't because of what Bam Adebayo could do. It ain't because of what Tyler Hero could do. We had all those guys figured out, right? We played them great. What? I said we played them great. Well, how'd we lose? Because Max Strauss scored 31 fucking points. That's how we lost. The Bulls missed the playoffs because of a player that used to be on their team. And it wasn't Jimmy Butler. It was Max Strauss. That is exactly why you've got to show commitment to these young players. And then if you're going to draft them, you might as well keep them around. You might as well, there's a reason why you're bringing them into the league. Make that the same reason why you're keeping them on your team. If you think they're good enough for you for a couple of years, as they develop, the odds are they're going to be good for you thousands of years. Here's another reason why you keep on to these draft picks, because we used to. What? I said we used to hold these draft picks. You know what? Luol Deng, we drafted him. He played for us for 10 years. One of my favorite Bulls of all time. If I had to make an all-time 5 Chicago Bulls, Luol Deng's on that list. We drafted him. Captain Kirk Heinrich, we played for us for, again, 13 years. We drafted him. Ben Gordon, we drafted him. He was on the team for about 7 years before we ever got rid of him. Again, we drafted him. He stuck around. You've got to have committed players. Oh, yeah, a guy that's named Michael Jordan. We drafted him, too. Everyone knows the history he's made. So if you're going to bring them into the league to be part of your team, you keep them part of your team, especially if they're affordable. If the Bulls can take this 145 gap, and they can keep the team that they had, all 11 of those guys that I named, and then they can add Dwight Powell, and they can draft a couple of draft picks, and they can hope that Marko Simonovic wants to stick around. I'm telling you, the Chicago Bulls will win the East next year. They're not going to do nothing like precedented. They'll that 72 and 10, the 71 and 9, none of that will ever happen. But I do think something like this would happen. A good solid 58, 59, 62 wins. I think it's very doable, 62 and 20, which would be phenomenal compared to like the record we've been making the last 2 or 3 seasons. So if we could win 60 games would be fucking precedented. And I think it's very, very possible. Like I said, here's a fun fact. I'm going to give you a few fun facts before we wrap this up. DeMar DeRozan is like the top 25 scorers of all time in the NBA, and he's still in the NBA, and he's still on our team. How you doing? Again, Nikola Vucevic was 3rd in the NBA at double-doubles. How you doing? Alex Caruso was voted the best defender in NBA. How you doing? And then Zach LaVine, he does a little bit of everything. It just happens. What are you gonna do? Shoot the 3? Okay. What are you gonna do? You want to dunk it? Okay. What are you gonna do? You're gonna drive halfway in, make them think you're dunking it, and then you're gonna step back and shoot a wide open 2? Okay. Anything you want him to do? Guess what? He can do it. And then on the flip side of that, the guys that are giving them rest. So when those guys come off, let me tell you, when Kobe White comes onto that court, you never know what Kobe White's going to do. I've seen the dude shoot the lights out of the gym. I've seen him shoot 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, looking like Steph Curry. I've seen that. I've seen him attack it. I've seen Kobe White pretend that he's Scottie Pippen and just go in there and dunk on the opposing centers. I said centers because I've seen him do it numerous times. Like I said, he's been on the team. This was year 4 for him. He's been on the team. You got to keep him on the team because he can attack, because he can shoot, because he can pass, because he's got that fucking afro that everybody loves when he's running down that court. I want to see that coming down the damn court. Kobe White, how you doing? And then, with Ayo Dosunmu, is everything Kobe White does, minus the fro. So if you love Kobe White, you love Ayo Dosunmu, and you didn't even know it. I'm telling you, the Bulls are going to be very scary, but they've got to have a premier guy. And in my opinion, the cream of the crop would be Dwight Powell. Ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what I'd like to see this offseason for the Chicago Bulls. I'd like to see them get on track for a championship run. for the next 3 years. Yes, that's right, for the next 3 years. Wrap it up. By the time our money runs out and it's time to rebuild, everybody will be on contract. Everyone will be ready for extensions. And then a lot of people will be ready for retirement. So that just might be okay. So you let, older guys go. DeMar out the door. Vooch out the door. Drummond out the door. DJJ out the door. You look at Zach, he's getting older. Zach out the door. By time the next 3 to 5 years, if we don't win a title, you just blow it up, baby. And that's just what you got to do, because the title is realistic. I'm telling you guys, I'm not exaggerating. For the next 3 years, we're one guy away. Now, who's that guy going to be? I don't know. We're going to get him in free agency, and we're going to get him out of the draft. But until that happens, all I can do is sit and wait as a fan. Everything that you like, everything that you've seen, that you heard, if you like it, good. If you don't like it, tough luck. I'm Erick Daniel Coughlin. If you like what you've seen, just cash at me, Erick Coughlin, #Coughlin Pride. Have a good day.